Hi everyone, it's Sean from STK again. We've got Andrew Shearer, who's the chairman of ACDC Metals. I love saying that. It was one of my favourite bands. But listen, this whole market, as we all know, has been destroying a lot of value and unnecessarily so. ACDC came out of the blocks to this destruction of interest rate rises and whatnot, and they haven't been immune to it. But I'm just here to ask the chairman today, how are you going? What's going on? But before we do that, there was a great announcement, which you may or may not have seen. And I'd really just like to ask some questions about that. They've already done drilling. And let's just notice one thing, guys. They've been out of the box for 6 weeks approximately, and they've already finished the first drilling campaign. Now, I've never really seen that before in a stock, apart from the Southern Cross, which was sort of the same of. So you've finished this drilling campaign. You've got some assay results off to the labs already. And as I said, only been 2 months. So we are expecting news flow. So the team have done what they've said they're going to do in a very quick time frame. But Andrew, just want to elaborate on any of those points. And I mean, congratulations for doing that so quickly in such a trying market.
Look, thanks, Sean, and thank you very much for your time this evening as well. Look, a lot of good points there, and really reinforce also that we've got, firstly, a great team out on the project. We've got 2 very experienced mineral sands geologists on the rig. We've also got some really good fieldies out there, and we've got some really good drillers out on site as well. So just to clarify, we haven't actually finished the drilling. We're just basically cycling through. We've got working 2 weeks on, 1 week off. We don't have enough drillers at the moment to continue operating for constantly 7 days a week. So we've completed the first route pass drilling at our northernmost project, Goshen. We've now moved the rig down. We've had a week's break. They're back on site. They're back drilling down at Watcham. And as you said, we've already packed up the samples that we acquired before Christmas, put them all together, and they've been shipped over or trucked over to Western Australia. And in the announcement, that's what we said. And they've received them at the labs, and we're expecting results in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And that will be an ongoing factor. Every couple of weeks, we'll put the samples together, bulk them all up, get a semi-trailer load, and send them over to Perth, and just continue that rolling for the next probably 2 months on that program.
You know what, Andrew, when you sort of say it like that, you've only done a very small part of the drilling, and you've managed to shoot it off straight away. And then you start again at the other project. This news flow that we're all been looking for when a stock comes on, it's always a little bit slow, but you weren't that slow. It was only 4 to 5 weeks. We did have January in that period. Yep. So the reality is you've hit the ground running. We're now seeing that news flow come through. One thing I did notice with that drilling that you've just done, when you had the drill bit going in the ground, you could see that the grades were there because you started drilling a lot closer. So almost doing infill drilling from the very beginning just to see where that grades were going. And that was very pleasing to read in that announcement the other day.
And that's a really good point, because mineral sands, firstly, the shallow holes, where they're going down to 40 metres for each drill hole, and it's quick. We're getting around about 6, 7 or 8 holes a day completed. And the beauty is, as the sample's coming out, we've got these, as I said, experienced mineral sands geologists on the rig. They're panning it, and so they can actually see the heavy mineral sands minerals coming in the pan as well. So whilst we couldn't really put it in the ASX release because it's not an actual true measure of grade, if you take the inference from the fact that we were originally doing 800-metre line space drill holes along the roads, and when you look at the plan of the map of the holes that we completed at Washington, we've already been able to take those visuals from the drilling and infill, as you're saying, already along the roads. So the inference from that is we can see what we're hitting, and therefore we're going to a more detailed drilling straight away on that.
Well, one thing that just grabs me there is that panning. I mean, I've gone away on a weekend and had a go gold panning, and I'm bloody rubbish at it. But you've obviously got that experienced geo team sitting down there, and you're seeing the product there. We don't know what the grades are yet, but it's actually there. Now, just one thing that I didn't understand was that when you did it in sections, was there other areas where you couldn't see it? Because that was viewed as a little bit negatively, or did you see it there as well?
Look, we see it. It's just not as prolific as where we've gone in straight away. And that was the beauty about this program, where we designed it a broad spacing. We got the historic drilling. We know it's there. We are basically then looking for areas of enrichment or a higher grade potentially within that broader envelope of mineralisation there. So this is the drilling at Goshen. The other drillings, the Watching program, and the Douglas program, we will be looking for more exploration on that. There is some existing drilling that we're following up on, but we'll be doing more roadside drilling down there, and that's what's happening at the moment on those other two projects.
That's fantastic. I'll be looking forward to hearing more about that in the coming weeks. We're not talking months. It's not an extensive long program because you're not going down 800-900 meters. It's very shallow, as you said.
Yep.
So we should get a lot more news flow, which is that key thing which makes stocks go up. So you're starting to hit all the markers that we've wanted to hear.
So you're right. We're starting to see the news flow, and it's really important because in our prospectus, we couldn't talk about the historic mineralization that was recorded by CRA in the 1980s. So this will be the first time that we can actually start to put numbers on to our project. And I think that's going to be a very important re-rating event for ACDC, when we can actually talk about what the heavy mineral percentages are, when we can actually talk about what the minerals are within that assemblage as well. What's the amount of zircon? What's the amount of monazite? What's the amount of rutile and ilmenite as well? And that will be a key moment that we haven't been able to do, even though we've had the historic information sitting there.
With your drilling, where you saw your higher grade deposits with the historical information, did that correlate to where you drilled heavier in this round? Or where you drilled the infill type of drilling as we discussed?
Yeah, look, we've still got to analyse all the results and exactly what we're getting in terms of the correlation between the historic. And we've actually engaged Snowden's to help on that work, an independent body to help in firstly the resource calculation and to tell us if we can use that historic results into that resource estimate as well. So they'll be looking closely at the correlation between our drilling and the historic drilling to know if we can use that in our resource.
So it looks like we've got a lot of news flow coming. It looks like things are looking good from where we were in the prospectus pre-IPO, what you were saying.
Yep.
It does look like you've got the band back together again, how we did the whole Southern Cross transaction where there was drilling done previously. We then went and did a lot more, proved it up. ACDC is looking very similar. What you've had previously, it looks like that's coming through quite nicely now. We'll know a lot more in the coming weeks and months. So it's looking very exciting. Now, there's one thing which we do need to discuss today, because a lot of the guys that we put into it, myself included, we've got the ability to pay for our options. We're not exercising the shares, but we've got to pay 0.5%. There was an announcement, I think today, this afternoon, was the X date to get those options. So everyone who holds shares is in a 1-for-2 option. Can you explain what you actually get, please, Andrew?
Yeah, basically it's a loyalty option for everyone on the register. That record date is in Wednesday. All that information will start being sent out Monday the 27th of March. That will come out. It's 0.5% for each option to purchase, a 1-for-2 ratio. So for every 2 shares, you're able to apply for 1 loyalty option. We will seek to list those. There'll be 2 years, 30 cents exercise price as well.
Well, when you put things in perspective, we went into this IPO hoping to see what you've seen, and just with the panning where you've already started to see these rare earths, we don't know any grades or whatnot so far, but it is looking promising. These options are sort of like that free kick you were talking about, and now that it's quite nice that you've made that announcement right before they expire, or that it went into the X date, that people have got this extra information and they're getting this little free kick. So that's really good. Being an investor with quite a big position myself, and yourself too, Andrew, I know the management team invests a lot of money into the IPO and pre-IPO, and your management is responsible for a lot of a high percentage of the company. I'm assuming everyone internally will be taking up their entitlements as well?
Absolutely. On that, I know I will be, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in the management and the vendors and all the major holders will be taking up theirs. As I've spoken to a lot of the major holders already, and they've already indicated that they will be taking up theirs for sure.
That's fantastic, Andrew. Listen, I think there's enough happening in the short term. What we may do is we'll revert back to you probably in about 3 to 4 weeks to get another update of how everything's progressing, how it's just panned out with your next drilling campaign, and seeing if we did hit what we wanted to hit there. And after that made that announcement, we'll just get a one-on-one with you. That'd be wonderful. So there's certainly a lot to look forward to, and we're not waiting quarter on quarter on quarter like a lot of IPOs. We've got news flow coming straight away. So it's been well packaged, Andrew. Congratulations. You just need to get this share price back up, and I think you're doing the right thing to get it there.
So I think, Sean, actually, thank you very much for that. It's just the team associated with ACDC has been around capital markets and around junior mining stocks for a long time. So we know that it's about news flow. So that's what we're concentrating on doing, getting that news flow happening. We have been hurt a little bit by the macro. There were some comments a week or so ago by Elon Musk at his investor day on Tesla. He said that Tesla's looking to not use rare earth magnets in their cars. There's been some great independent research that came out straight after that to say, well, hang on, he accounts for about 3 to 4% of the world's demand for rare earths. And there was no details on what magnets, what he's going to replace the rare earths in his car as well. So there was a little bit of a knock from that. And some of the rare earth commodities, the prices have come off a little bit, but they ran really hard, and they're still 3 times the long-term average prices as well. So just to reinforce, ACDC, we've got a great team out on the ground. We're doing everything. We're doing everything we said we would, and we'll continue to do that going forward.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. Ta.
Thanks. Hi, STK viewers. We've just got another video that Shane White from STK did with Mark Saxon, talking about how to process with the much better yield and at the low point potentially of the cost curve these rare earths. So if you want to know a little bit more about the technology, the link's at the bottom of this email. So please have a look at that. It's very compelling. We know that they're drilling. We know that they're potentially hitting stuff from the panning. This technology is the separate part of a transaction, which if this comes through with that, we've got a very good investment. It's all looking very good at the moment. So go have a look at that one too. And thank you very much for watching.